Let's talk with Skip in California. Skip, welcome to the show.
Hi.
How can we help you tonight?
Hi. Yeah, I'm just calling in because background. I left a fundamental Christian church that I'd been going to for 15 years, and I was like raised and entrenched in purity culture. And I came out, and as I'm like trying to date, it just feels like it's just so restrictive, and I don't know, it's hard to get out of like the black and white thinking of, am I doing things wrong? But as I was listening to you all talk, like the whole physical touch thing, that definitely resonated with me.
Mm-hmm. Can you go into a little bit more detail if you're comfortable about what kind of coming out you mean? Because that can influence how we take this conversation. Only if you're comfortable.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like labels are weird. I say I'm gay just because I feel like that's simple enough. But also non-binary. So yeah, it's been, my family's been great. It's just been my church people that I've kind of, a lot of friendships I've had to let go of. And I tell people, like, growing up in purity culture, I wasn't allowed to touch men because I would lead them astray, and I wasn't allowed to touch women because they would know that I was gay.
Yeah, that resonates real hard. Thank you for sharing that, Skip. I appreciate you giving me that little bit of clarification, because that will help. And also, yay, non-binary people. Yeah, I mean, for me, there definitely is a one-to-one correlation between the kind of assumptions that are made about your morality and your worth as a person in regard to sex, not just the action, but also the attraction and the implications of that. So yeah, I've had to deal with that for years of having to go, okay, well, do I really, like this thing and I'm just not letting myself, or do I really dislike this thing for unrelated reasons, and would pushing that mean that I was not being true to myself versus, caving to a societal expectation I no longer hold by. So there is a whole lot of pulling apart that I know happens around this. And I'm going to let Jonathan and Rags kind of jump on this as well. But I do want to just say, give yourself time, right? This is, I know it's kind of a mantra on this show that there is no finish line. There is no timeline for you, right? You're not late. You're not behind. No one's waiting for Skip saying, where is she? It's just who you need to be in the moment and how comfortable you are. And I think that is also going to be key here. And I'm curious what my guests think, but that idea of personal comfort coming before expectations of other people is something that was always, billed as something super selfish and not even really an option. In purity culture, in my fundamentalist religious upbringing, it was, okay, you might be uncomfortable, but you have to suck it up and deal with it because your community needs X. And so making sure that you are prioritizing your comfort, whatever that means, if that means going out and having lots of sex safely and with consent, or no sex at all, ever, none. Like whatever you want to do, that is what is right for you in the moment.
Skip, you mentioned something about labels earlier, and I'd just like to piggyback off that and say the labels you find that are right to describe yourself now may not be the right labels you intend to use 10 years from now, and that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly valid. I know I've had many labels that I've considered myself under, and I wouldn't say any of those labels were wrong, but I will say they're not right for me now. And I think it's important to be patient with yourself as you figure out who you are right now and who you are tomorrow, and not worry too much about that. Mm-hmm. And as far as the physical intimacy goes, I'm sorry, you want to go ahead?
Oh, no, go for it.
As far as physical intimacy goes, that took me finding someone I could trust and feel safe with in order to explore. That took a lot. And that took some therapy from a licensed therapist for me to be able to go through with things, for me to talk about things, and for me to be comfortable with another person and to be vulnerable enough with another person to allow that. And everyone's journey is different as far as that goes, but I'm really, really hoping for the best for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends about sex, and I was like, so I'm trying to get away from the label virgin because I think it's just got too much weight to it. I've never done it before. But I was talking to one of my friends, I'm 29, and I went on a date with someone. I told them that, and that was a fun reaction. But I think that I was telling her that it was comforting to realize at one point that that when I do have sex with somebody, that it will probably most likely be someone that I choose. And there's like comfort in that. And so I don't know. It's just, I just get so in my head thinking about doing things wrong or being the weird one.
Yeah.
So find somebody you can be weird with. I mean, there are lots of people out there who like different things. And, if there's anything weird that you like that you're not sure that the average person is going to be, find the people to be weird with. And, it's human sexuality covers a whole broad spectrum, and you're not necessarily going to find that everybody you speak to is right. And it's important to get that out of the way first.
Yeah, right and wrong can be these really big, scary concepts, especially for those of us who have sort of delayed our development in some way. I know that I was a little bit more willing to sort of come out of my shell earlier, but in terms of the people around me, I was a very late bloomer. And so that idea of doing it wrong, not knowing what I'm getting myself into, putting lots of pressure on the situation didn't really serve me very well. And there's a learning process there where you just have to sort of be forgiving to yourself and sometimes maybe even step back and go, wow, I am way, way, way overthinking this. But there's also a good quality of going, you know what? I'm not ready to go any further than coffee. Coffee is plenty intimate for me today. And so finding that balance is going to take a little bit of time. So you don't need to rush through it. There's no making up for lost time. I know Christy often talks about not worrying about the sex that you're not having, those sorts of things. And I think that those are all a really healthy way to approach this, right? Just kind of looking around and taking inventory and going, what do I feel comfortable with, period? And what is right? And is wrong just an idea that I've sort of overlaid on top of a lot of different things? And, there might be a little bit of personal work. And like Jonathan said, it might be helpful to have somebody who is experienced and qualified to really talk you through that and help you kind of define those things for yourself. Because I'm somebody who has very soft boundaries, and I've made decisions that looking back, I'm not particularly comfortable with, but at the time I was. So there's a lot of murky area in there, and it can be daunting. But there's not a right and a wrong. There's just what you're comfortable with today and what you can learn from it, good or bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I've been the reason I ended up coming out when I did was because I was in therapy, and it was my first time seeing a non-Christian therapist.
Okay. Highly recommend.
So that, and so just because of money, I haven't been able to go back, but I do plan to. But I had something I was going to say, but I lost it. Par for the course.
That's okay. I love hearing all of this from both of you guys, because it does seem like a pretty common experience. And I know it can feel like you're all alone in this, and that everybody else has their shit together and you're the last person trying to figure out where the suitcase is. But it really is a common thing that a whole lot of people have gone through and haven't even gotten this far into, right? Like the fact that you are going to a therapist, especially a secular one, and plan to again, the fact that you are doing this work and thinking about these things in terms of what is right for me, and, you know, how do I have to deconstruct what I used to believe in order to live my best life, means that you are so far ahead, Skip. You are already almost there. And that is all you need to worry about right now, is being where you are and making sure that when you make decisions, you've thought through it and you've decided this is the one that makes the most sense for me. Yeah, you might look back and later be like, oh, that wasn't the right decision. Looking back in hindsight, that's fine too, right? There's nobody keeping score. There's nobody who's going to be like tallying this up. You're not going to have to face judgment at the end of your life. This is just going to be a learning opportunity and a fun story to tell at a bar or something. So of course, be safe, be careful, but also it's okay to not know what you're doing. No one really does.
Skip, quick question.
Yeah, I ask my friends, I say, yeah, go for it.
Quick question. Have you looked at resources in the area that are available to you with regards to something like the Freedom from Religion Foundation? Recovering from Religion is what I'm thinking of, actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've checked out Recovering from Religion. I actually talked to someone a couple days ago on there, I think it was. And I've been trying to find other people who are deconstructing or in just similar situations. So I've joined a couple Discord servers too with others, and have devoured way too many books.
No such thing. I love that. That is wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that we're a social species and we're not meant to really go through anything alone. Mm-hmm. No need to zoom in on me. That was all I had to say.
That was an ice cream cone right there.
I was going to say earlier, kind of quick funny story, but I like to tell my friends because I don't know, I like to make jokes about the fact that I've never had sex before because it's easier to laugh. So I tell them, I go, is sex like in the movies where you smile at someone across the bar and then you like, the screen goes black and then you are in bed together at some point and then you black out again and then you just wake up naked. Is that what it is? So that's what I think.
That's if that's how it works for you, you've been roofied. Definitely not the best.
I know. See, movies don't get your sex ed from movies.
No, not.
L-shaped blankets do not exist. Like that.
Oh, you mean that it's not supposed to not cover the man's chest, but cover the
woman's chest?
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah, like those things. Those are artifice. Don't worry about that. Just pay attention to your own level of comfort, and be willing to say, "I'm cool here. I'm not cool here." You know what? Now that I've had a chance to breathe, I'm a little bit more cool. Maybe I'm not. Listen to yourself. Just listen to yourself.
You know more than you think. Your body knows what you are comfortable with, and your body is the one you have to listen to right now, not your church, not your community. Like if your body is saying, "Hey, I want this thing," go find a way to do that ethically. If your body is saying, "I do not want this thing," then fuck it. Who needs it? Don't do it. My gosh. Thank you so much for calling in, Skip. I would love to continue having this conversation. If you decide to call back in, we would love to talk with you more.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of your night.
Yeah, you too.
I don't get to see every episode, so if you can let me know if Skip ever calls back in, please do.
Yes.
Sounds good. We'll do. Or I'll just have to tell you to watch every show. How dare you not watch every show? Excuse you.
I'm going for a master.
You're literally on the show admitting you don't watch. What?
I mean, what? No, I watch every show.
Twice even.
Twice. Each one.